Welcome to Garden Planning with a Biodynamic Moon Calendar for February 2024. My name is Katrina Wolf. My business is Blue Borage, and I love recording these guides to practical application of this very complex calendar in a home garden setting. So, to start with, I recommend you create a monthly planning sheet. Also, have a sort of an annual plan. So, you've got the overarching goals for the year, and then the season, and then the month, and then maybe the week and the day, and right now. So, I have a free download where you can get this simple template or just copy it out on a piece of paper. So on the right hand side there, I have filled that out for February 2024. The key dates for this month, we've got the full moon on Sunday the 25th, the new moon on Saturday the 10th. Moon opposite Saturn falls on the same day as the full moon. Not sure exactly what time, if they align really closely or not, but it's handy to remember they're on the same day. We start with 1 week in the ascending phase, then descending for about 2 weeks, and then back to ascending. We've got 3 days that are lunar nodes on the 1st, the 14th, and the 28th. So if that is all the information you need to go and get planning, then you can click out at under 2 minutes. Otherwise, stay with me and see how I'm applying this information in the gardens that I tend. The PDF that I've got there on the right-hand side, you can download that in my Ko-fi shop. The link is there, and I'll also put the link in the notes. So the gardens that I look after, top left is the soil farm where I live. That used to be a paddock. It's now more and more edible beds each month. Top right is the museum pollinator garden here in Tuakau. I live halfway between Tuakau and Pokeno, a little community called Whangarata. You can see on the bottom left the Whangarata Community Hall. That used to be the local school, which was closed around 1986. And this community hall is a venue that I would love to use more, and I'm trying to find out how to get it turned into a spray-free venue for people to come and learn holistic weed management. So don't want to push too hard because rural communities move slow. So I'm going to be patient with that. Bottom right is the Sharda Centre Food Forest. The Sharda Centre is a retreat centre here in Tuakau, a beautiful venue. Simple but peaceful. So it's really a place you have to experience to fully understand. Behind the buildings, there is a slope with fruit trees. I must do an inventory and write a blog describing them. But I've been invited to use this as a teaching garden. So bit by bit, we are growing the herbs to make the biodynamic compost preparations. And I host my circular gardening membership meetups at the Sharda Centre once a month. So the middle of February, there's a really fun event, which I'll talk about in a bit. In the middle is Hazel's garden. This is my daughter Jessica's house down in Aotearoa, Dunedin, where her daughter, my granddaughter Hazel, I get to go and visit and babysit and garden with her. So updates on each of these spaces. Top left at the soil farm, I've got these 2 identical compost piles. The one on the left has biodynamic compost preparations added. The one on the right is just hot compost made well. And these will be all set to open late February, early March, and I will host an event where I'll get a number of people that I trust to be objective to come and see me open them, and we'll feel 2 batches of soil and see what difference there is. Top right, the museum pollinator garden. We've got loads of weeds that are ready to turn into soil with hot composting, and the dahlias are flowering. I am picking bouquets of flowers and have set up an arrangement with Jay at the Tuako Youth Centre, where I can drop off a bucket of flowers and she will get the young people to take someone in the community a bunch of flowers. Bottom right, the Sharda Centre Food Forest, that's just a little snippet of this beautiful pathway that James has created. What you can see there is a retaining wall made with big, thick bamboo, what do you call them? Trunks, branches, stalks, pieces of bamboo. And so I would love to now find either some pavers or some sort of offcuts of concrete that we can create stepping stones in this meandering pathway down through the food forest. The next event at Shara is the 19th of February. And there is a couple travelling through New Zealand, Ursula and Bernard, from I think it's Germany, it might be Switzerland. And I've asked them to come in and give a talk on that day. But we'll also be composting and gardening and cooking and eating and sharing stories of how things are going in our own gardens. So if you'd like information on that membership program, there'll be a link in the comments. And you're welcome to come along to that event as a one-off. It is a pay-to-attend event. Bottom left, as I said in the introduction, Whangarata Community Hall, I'm not using currently. It was such a lovely venue last winter that maybe as the weather cools down, I'll resume some sessions there. And in the middle, updates from Hazel's garden. Jessica says they are enjoying the peas that Hazel and I planted back in November when I was down there to help out with the exam season. So, yeah, there are so many more updates from both the soil farm and museum and other projects happening in the community, both in Tuako, the Waikato, but also throughout New Zealand and even globally, that it's hard to get them all in this video. On to the goals. So here at the soil farm, I just want to get my food planted for autumn and winter. I sort of missed out a lot of my seed sowing in spring and now in the middle of summer, and I don't have chilies. I don't have many tomatoes. I gave all my tomato plants to my daughter Sophie. So she's having a wonderful tomato season in Sandringham, Central Auckland, and I'm happy for her. But I would like to be better organised for autumn and winter. I'm also taking the biodynamic compost preparation making a little more seriously this year, and I would love to make the oak, yarrow, and dandelion preparations, and of course get the 500 down in the cowhorn. I would like to prepare for the peach glut a little better. Last year it took me by surprise. I was babysitting in Dunedin part of February for Jessica's summer school. And when I got back, there were already peaches starting to fall off the tree, and I was trying to catch up with a lot of tasks and also bringing in sort of a bucket of peaches each day. And some people say, why don't you give them away in the local community? But we had a fair bit of brown rot that I don't want to give away peaches that look like you can only use half of them. So I will be digging out all my favourite recipes and hunting down some jars and maybe getting a dehydrator and expanding my preserving skills. Okay, Whangarata Community Hall, I'm just going to stay curious, stay open, and let that unfold in the sort of right time. Hazel's Garden, I need to save for my next trip down to Port Dunedin. I have an ad in the local community newspaper, and as soon as I get maybe 3-4 people inquire about a compost consultation, I can then arrange flights and go and work and babysit and do the next little bit of development with Hazel's Garden. The museum pollinator garden, the dahlias started off the whole kind of dahlia obsession, grown by Christy Kirkpatrick of Sinclair Dahlias, and I've asked her if she'll come and do a dahlia event. It could be educational, could be social, could be, I don't know, we'll see. She's quite happy to do that, so we've just got to kind of look at some dates. I would like to make another batch of CPP. I have pulled up the CPP we made at the museum, and the CPP pit is like within 2 meters, 3 meters of the railway line. And if you imagine the freight trains and the commuter trains it's a noisy CPP spot that I have changed my mind about where to use the CPP. I don't want it going into people's peaceful home gardens, but I am going to take it with me as I travel north and sprinkle some along railway lines where I think it would be beautiful to have pollinator gardens. We will carry on composting, try and keep up with the weeds as they grow, and also keep planting shrubs and flowers to kind of gradually transition the space so that there are less and less weeds each season. I'll be hosting a circular gardening event on the 18th of February. Museum events are always free to attend. You can find links on my Humanitics profile. And with it being the 100-year anniversary of biodynamics, I'm really, really curious to look at what farming was like in this region in 1924. And we've got a lot of, I don't want to say relics, treasures from that era in the museum that I feel there are lots and lots of stories to be told. And in the sort of garage of the museum, the wall is lined with old farm implements, and there are farm tools there that was used on the land where I now live. And Sandra, who's the curator at the museum, she told me she has a receipt somewhere. I can't remember the date, but it wasn't too far from 1924 when they had electricity installed on the land here. That I would love to find that piece of paper. On to the Sharded Centre Food Forest. I want to solidify that pathway with pavers or mulch before it gets overgrown with kikuyu and jasmine and convolvulus and all the other friends. And we have the circular gardening event there on the 19th of February. That's a Monday. And this couple, Ursula and Bernard from Europe. Now, Bernard is a biodynamic market gardener, a grower, and he and Ursula have an online school teaching biodynamic gardening for home gardeners, kind of like what I do with Blue Borage, but it's in German. And Bernard, around, I think he said about 8 years ago, maybe it's more, he sold his tractor, got a horse, and now the horse helps tend the land. And they have studied nature communication. They know Saskia, and I'm just so looking forward to hearing the full story and having them meet some of Blue Borage customers. And who knows, maybe one day there'll be a trip to Europe together. So I also want to install some signage for the herbs that we're using at the Sharded Centre to make the biodynamic preparations. So it feels like progress is slow, but slow and steady is often a good way to get things done. So here on this slide you can see the very simplified goals that I have on the left, and then on the right the dates in the calendar where I've gone looking to see, okay, when's the best time to make the compost? When is the best time to get my seed sowing done? And so it takes a very complex moon calendar, and I've just picked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points that I'm going to make use of. And then I have my DIY almanac calls on that last weekend around the full moon. I'll have notes below about all the different programs I offer. The DIY Almanac is one of my favorites if you're interested in creating your own planner to turn your gardening into a way of, I don't know, kind of record keeping as autobiography, as connection with the land where you are. But we'll finish up there, and if you would like any help planning your gardening tasks, please send me an email. I still have to set up a sort of an easy to click and book link where we can hop on Zoom or Voxer and talk through your gardening goals and how you'd like to make use of the biodynamic moon calendar. But yeah, this little walkthrough is meant to be short and simple, and we will stop at just under 15 minutes. See you next month.